on all playoff weekdays like we usually do, but then we will also appear after games at times in the evening or the late afternoon, depending on what's going on with the schedule. So keep an eye out for that. One other quick thing, I won't get into the whole deal, but I went back and forth with someone named MJ on Instagram who was DMing Foul Territory, who said freshman year of college, we played Kratz in the playoffs. He hit a ball with metal that is still in orbit. We won, but he almost hit the toilet target in left center. And I said, tell me more. And he sent me a very long paragraph about the legend of Erik Kratz. Smoked a ball to center that we still talk about in Salem, Virginia at the minor league fields. Look at that smile. Come on. Dude, this guy gave me 3 paragraphs, nice as can be, was laying out everything, right? Our coach asked Kratz to start the 10th. He did not want him to beat us. He was walked with the bases loaded in the regular season to save our lead since he hit over 500. Is this all ringing a bell for you?
Yeah, it's from the college. It's called Bridgewater College. They were our rivals. So anytime you do something like that against the rivals who owned us, until my senior year, they owned us. I think they won like 20 straight. So it was like 10 straight years of losing to, it's not even a rivalry then, but yeah, we ended up beating them. It was nice. Glory days.
Yeah, dude, they're still talking about you there. So I just wanted to let you know that there's a lot of love for something that actually is pretty common in our world. Like every once in a while, you can tell someone doesn't know baseball when there's a broadcaster who will go, so-and-so who hit 450 in high school. And it's like, yeah, a lot of dudes crushed in high school. That's why they're playing in the show.
High school was when it was fun and easy.
Yeah. Was it really easy? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you step up to the plate and you're just like, it feels like beer league softball for everyone else where you're just getting lobbed pitches? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. We faced some dudes when I was in high school. I mean, I faced some first rounders and some dudes that played. So it wasn't exactly like that. But like when you're faced, there were some teams you faced and you're like, hey, listen, if they don't hit me or walk me and I get 3 at bats, if I don't get 3 hits, then I'm disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
There were a few of those days where you're like, okay.
That's where it's that, yeah. For me in college, like you just change your level of expectation. You're not sitting there going, man, I hope I hit 350. Like you're like, by my senior year, I wanted to hit 500. Like that was my goal, to hit 500 in college. And like you look back on it and you're like, well, that was kind of asinine to think that, but like that's what you wanted to do because I hit 400, over 400 for my career up until that point.
Yeah, but you really have to feel yourself. I mean, I get it. Like the competition is not good enough, right? That's the facts.
I don't know if it's that. It's just you also get to a point where your confidence is so high.
So
right?
high.
You're just like
high.
I mean, you're the man. So you're just like this jabroni on the other team. This jabroni from Bishop Moore Catholic thinks he's going to get me out?
Yeah.
No
Bishop
chance, bro.
Moore Catholic.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if he was going to be a first rounder, if he was going to be, for me, if he was going to be the other dude that was going to be MVP of the league or me, like you were like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
Epic. So, all right, let's charge the damn mound. We'll go over some confidence issues in the big leagues.
Charging the mound.
Can you play baseball with just one shoe on?
No, you get ejected.
Is it in the rule book?
Apparently. Brendan Miller thought so.
What if someone stepped up to the plate with no cleats on?
Then I would think they're cuckoo and we're throwing him right at his toe the first pitch.
Oh, that would be terrible.
I mean, I'm watching yesterday. I'm like, we spent a decent amount of time on the Padres yesterday, but I'm watching the game last night, and I'm like, this game's insane. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
And A.J. Casabell, who's been covering the Padres for a long time, and he's seen a lot of pretty wild scenes in the regular season, including Padres-Dodgers, goes, this is the most playoffy regular season game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
At Padres, at whatever you call it, Petco, at the Padres home.
Well, first of all, where do we start? The hater, it didn't really get going until Manny hit the home run to tie it. They bring him, and they bring in Hader. Sorry, they bring Manny, and he hits the home run and got going.
He thinks he got taken on 2 pitches, too.
Yes. And
So
then he hits
pissed.
the home run. Place goes, first of all, it's another sellout, like their 52nd sellout, I think, of the year.
Yes.
And then they bring in Hader to try to get a 4-out save, and the place goes nuts because he wouldn't do that for San Diego. right? And then
Right.
you have the Profar thing, or then you have the Altuve thing, where he hits the ball with his toe and he takes his shoe off and his sock off. And it's like, look, it's never worked in the history of Major League Baseball, but we got to have a better way of telling that with replay or something. Then the umpire to reject him right away was awesome. And then the Profar one, he didn't want to get hit by the ball, and the ball didn't hit him. If you watch that replay, you're like, the ball did not hit him. How do we let him go to first? And Manny hits the ground ball, and the dude makes a sick play to end the game.
Kissinger.
Oh man, That was a sick play. Like the slide and the flip and the whole deal.
He had a great quote too.
I mean, it was an awesome, like from the 8th inning to the 9th inning was incredible in that game. Or the 10th inning, sorry.
He said something along the lines of, as soon as I saw him take his shoe off, I grabbed my glove. I'm like, oh, dude, he had a perfect day as a Major League bench player.
Yeah.
That's it, Kratz? You have nothing on the game?
I can't. No, I mean, I thought we were talking about Kissinger. Like you sit there and you're never playing in that game. That game is too close. You're checked out. Like if you're a real bench player, you're like, hey, I'm not going for Altuve. And then you see him take his shoe off. You're like, well, let's wind this thing up. And then to make the play to end the game, it was so great. Like it was like Joe Espada planned that. Like I hope I get to bring Hader in, because Hader, if Joe had asked him like, hey, you want to throw any 4-out saves this series? Hader would have been like, yeah, brother.
So, yeah, the Padres broadcasters, obviously, your guy Arcilla played it great. You're like, oh, Hader's going to come in now. He never went more than 3 outs for us last year. They had the stats ready. They go 5 appearances of 3 outs or more this year. And then they show last year 0 appearances. I wish that they kept it a little bit longer. I know they had to go to break or to commercial first, but he comes in, you just hear it right away. Then he comes through. Then, wait, that whole sequence took so long. And I don't know if you noticed, Mike Schilt then comes out for an explanation for another few minutes. Mike Schilt knew what the situation was when they went to the review there on the rules. So Hader comes into the game. They call a pitch clock violation. He had stepped off. It's a disengagement. Like the ump just screwed that up. It's like, dude, we've been doing this for 2 years. Everyone knew that that's not the case. Then they take like 5 minutes on the rules review. Then he explains it for another few minutes to Mike Schilt. Meanwhile, Josh Hader has been standing on the mound for a long time. First pitch, wild, ties the game. That was gamesmanship. I'm looking at Mike Schilt, and he's standing there, and he's just like, yeah, well, I don't know what he's saying exactly. Like, oh, what was that? Oh, okay. Like being very pleasant because he doesn't want to get kicked out. But he's like, oh, can I get the entire explanation of how a disengagement and the pitch clock work? Like, we all know.
Plus, it was just more booze to rain down on Hader.
Exactly. I'm standing there. I'm like, I can't believe this ump's not saying, beat it. Get back to the dugout. We just spent 5 minutes on this crap. I don't have to explain the rule book to you right now.
But Hader goes, I'm just living rent free. It's great living rent free. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, he is the least offensive person. Like in the sense, he's done some things. I get it, but he is like, he doesn't want to rub people the wrong way. Oh my gosh, for him to say that afterwards, when he comes in again in a game in San Diego, it might be louder. I thought the place was going to fall down when the wild pitch came in, the first pitch after that long delay. I thought it was going to, like when the cameras shake, that's when you know like the place is going playoff crazy.
I agree. It was freaking wild. So great game, really fun to watch. Astros win the game though, ultimately. I'm telling you, Kyle Tucker's going to be helpful there. Obviously, he's just getting himself going. So it had a playoff vibe to it. So, all right, we'll step aside for a quick moment. I will mention also the Padres weren't able to gain their game on the Dodgers. We'll get to them next, or we'll get to them later, the Dodgers. We're going to get to the Tigers next. A.J. Hinch, manager of that team, fighting, winning again yesterday. Scooble's pitching today. He's joining us next. FT fam, we want to remind everyone about the announcement that we made last week. We'll keep giving you more info about it as we get closer. it is the Major League Players Trust throwing together the 3rd annual Playmakers Classic. So circle Tuesday, February 18th of next year on your calendar. And Kratz, people might be like, well, why are you telling us this now? Well, you don't plan a trip like that in 5 seconds. If you're not from the Phoenix area and you want to be out there and you want to maybe check out a little, I mean, it's still pitchers and catchers report.
Months away, February, Valentine's Day.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, you can go, I think, before games. It depends on which team it is.
No, you can go. Usually they let you watch the workouts.
Yeah. You watch the workouts and then you can.
They're better than the games, I think. The workouts are better than the games.
And you get more access. I mean, the players are really good the first week or two. They're happy to be there, and they don't have a game.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about trying to get a hit.
Right. Yeah, you're just working out. So anyway, you can go there. You can then at night attend this event on the 18th. So it all goes to a good cause money-wise, and there's going to be live performances. Tons of MLB players, active players, former players are there, and it supports youth across the country and the world with access to cutting-edge academic and athletic programs. So if you'd like to see more, 15% off individual tickets if you purchase before October 31st, and you use the code PlaymakersFT. Playmakers, plural, FT for 15% off. Access to the event starts at $1,000. If you want to get some people together and go check that out, go for it. Visit playerstrust.org. Hey, we're back. We're waiting for A.J. Hinch. We're going to talk to him soon. Did you watch that game or some of that game? Ooh.
Those are some playoff games there too, right? By the way.
And that one was 1-1 like almost the entire time. Whew. Great game, though. I would say the part that I want to point out, which we'll get into more with A.J., is the Tigers' bullpen.
It's been good.
Dude, so good. And if you catch a baseball fan that probably is, a 6 or 7 on the knowledge scale, and you ask them to rattle off Tigers bullpen names, they're not going to do well. I can name Foley because they saw him
I can't even name. I know Foley, Foley,
Best.
Right, Foley and Holton, Best.
Yeah,
Best.
We can quiz AJ Hinch. I hope he knows.
Yeah, the rest of them are. I don't know,
dude.
Name their 5 starters.
Well, they're not really using 5 starters right now. They're using Montero and Skubal, and then Reese Olson was in there, but they need Casey Mize to consistently start. They need.
Stop. Let's ask AJ the second AJ.
Let's quiz him.
Let's see if he can name his bullpen.
Tigers manager AJ Hinch with us. So
the AJ, less smart one.
Good to see you, dude. Obviously loving this late push, and we were just going over how you've got an unsung bullpen. Would you agree with that? And do you feel like most of the country doesn't know what your pitching staff looks like or what their names are? I should say.
Yeah, I think most of the country doesn't know how we're using our pitching, but we've been pretty creative with all of our guys, and you should get to know them. I mean, they've been reliable. Tyler Holton has been an incredible story all year. I lean on him all the time. It's like the old school 90-inning reliever, and he comes in. He's started games, he's closed games, he's pitched every inning, I think, this year, and he's been incredible. Jason Foley, who's been the back end of our bullpen for the majority of the year, has been very incredible. Will Vest is another name to mention. Now, we have a completely different balance of that bullpen compared to the beginning of the year. We had Andrew Chafin down there. We've had others down there. But each guy that we're putting in seems to thrive in the unknown. Bo Brisky, this series against the Royals has been incredible in the 2 games that we've won. So I got to give guys days off every now and then, but we're pressing the pedal down these last couple of weeks.
How much of a group think are those decisions? I know you have to make the move in the game, but like, this isn't the bullpen that you built at the beginning of the season. Like you just said, you had Lang closing, you had Chafin coming in, getting significant innings. How much is this like, hey, what is this guy doing in the minor leagues? Okay, I'm going to kind of put it in against this spot in the lineup.
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it. And at the deadline, when we made trades and our pitching staff changed, it was we got together. We just started thinking, how can we maximize our depth? We have incredible depth. We have a lot of good arms that we really like. You're seeing them now with Ty Madden coming up, Reese Olson's back being healthy. We've utilized openers a lot and trying to put guys in a really good position to be good. Sean Gunther, Brendan Hanafy have been saviors coming up from the minor leagues, and so we've tried to maximize their strengths. And you know that as a catcher, like all we're trying to do is put guys in. When they can't hit sinkers, put the sinker guy in. When they can't hit backdoor cutters, here comes Holton. When they can't hit elevated fastballs, you've got Will Vest. I mean, it is a tricky thing before the game with Fett and Juan and Rob and George. Like all my staff, we think about what the scenarios are going to be. Now this series, none of us have come up with a great solution for Bobby Witt Jr. He's a real problem, but it's good to have a lot of options and be able to mix and match. Maybe the same guy that faced Bobby Witt last night doesn't face him tonight. Maybe we go a little bit backwards when it comes to the order in which we're using our pitching. So I kind of take it back to, as a catcher, like sometimes you just gotta roll with it and find a way to get to their weakness, either via pitch selection or the type of pitcher you bring in.
Hinch. All right, Hinch. I can't call you AJ because that's just not right. So you're Hinch from now on. Hinch. When you guys traded Chafin, you mentioned him, and you traded Flaherty away, and you looked and you're like, we got no chance. We're not going to be playing meaningful games with 10 games to go. Now all of a sudden here you are, and you said we're putting the pedal to the metal. Is it a surprise to you that you're where you're at?
Well, Pierzynski. No, I'm going to call you Pierzynski now. I think when we made those trades, there's 2 things going on at the same time. One thing is, where are you at in that deadline, and what are you doing as an organization? That's obviously the office, and I knew what was going on and how we were trying to make adjustments. The other one is the commitment to the young players, and then trying to maximize the season, which didn't mean losing. We never once said like, hey, we're going to cash in the rest of the year. It was like, how do we find our strengths? How do we get some of our young guys up here? When we got healthy and Riley came back and Kerry Carpenter came back, Parker Meadows came back, we got a lot more athletic and a lot more interesting. And then we started having a few walk-off wins. And then we just started chipping away towards 500. I told our team, we can't really talk any differently until we get to 500. Once you get to 500, we got to try to separate and win a few more series to get above that. Then you're going to look up. We're going to play all 162, and they'll count them up. And I know our fan base and our media, they ask me all the time, like, all we really focus on is trying to get these players better and try to win today's game. Now we're looking up and saying, hey, 10 games left. We keep chipping away at these wins, and we can make things really interesting towards the end. But that doesn't happen if we don't kind of finish off today with Scooble against the Royals. It's a big game today. And yesterday felt like a big game. Today's probably bigger because you're running out of games that you can win to make it to the postseason. And our team bought into that, and they understand, this is how we're playing. And it's a pretty loose group. They're fun to manage and fun to watch grow in what is playoff baseball right now in September, the way we're going about it.
I have never managed or coached in the big leagues, but playing in the big leagues and playing in a pennant chase and losing a big game, having your guy out there and somehow blowing it, whether it's an error, whether it's a save, how hard is that as a manager who is trying to save guys, keep guys healthy, and put the best team out there for these last 10 games?
It's hard, it's hard not to worry about tomorrow. I mean, I think, from a baseball enthusiast, like I watch all these races, I watch all the games. I was watching the San Diego Astros game that you guys were talking about earlier. Like, we're all locked in on what's going on. And so the thing that the sport leads you to is thinking that every win is catapulting you to the next level, and every loss is like crushing your season. And there are going to be games that are bigger than others, but you just try to stack the ones that you can. Like we've lost games along the way. It's not like maybe we went out. If we went out, we're going to be in a really good spot. But the chances are in our sport, a lot of wins and losses are going to happen. So if you can just press the reset button after good things and bad things, then your team can be very balanced. That's how I live. It's how I manage. Obviously, I'm going to take more positive than I'm going to crush on the negative, because the negative is not going to help you. But it's an emotional roller coaster, and so I try to deflect all that and shield all that from a young team that's trying to learn how to win.
Okay, you have Scuba going tonight,
Yeah.
and he's been pretty much every fifth day. So with 10 games left, will that mean he pitched tonight? And he'll get 3 more starts if you count tonight. So he'll get tonight. You have an off day, I believe, tomorrow, correct? And then you finish out the year the rest of the way. So he'll be able to get 3 more starts.
No, we have an off day on the Monday after the Orioles series. So we have an off day tomorrow. We play Baltimore for 3. We have an off day. Tarek will pitch the Tuesday game against Tampa with 6 games remaining. So obviously that sets up decision point the last day of the year. But so yes, there's a chance that we could see him on the mound more. There's also a little bit of planning to do series by series, but he won't pitch in the Baltimore series because he's pitching today. He'll pitch the opener against Tampa, and then we'll see, series by series how we're doing.
Hey, I'm looking at Scubal's numbers this year against KC. It looks like actually the only team that's hit him. Do you remember what happened?
Put those away. Put those away right now. I don't want to hear about them. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about Salvador Perez. I hope he's tired and needs the day off today. Like I don't really like to talk about those things. Thank you.
Okay, fine, fair. Well, it actually just starts something for me then. I can do that. It's easy. You just ask and your wish is my command. But then I'm going to ask you a sort of a different question because I know you're paying attention to the game. This past weekend, Cole intentionally walked Evers with a 1-0 lead and nobody on. Can you just take me inside what kind of conversation's going? We have Booney on the show all the time too, just haven't had him on in the past week. But have you ever been in a situation like that? How do you handle somebody who so much has someone's number, but also like if you hit a homer, you still are only tied?
Really hard spot. I don't know about the conversations that were had. I mean, I went a whole season and didn't walk somebody until the World Series when Juan Soto was Superman like he normally is. I've done it a lot more now with the extra inning rule and I did it the other day in San Diego. I had my choice between Arise and Tatis. With the winning run on second, we walked Arise. Didn't think we were going to punch him, that's for sure. And then Tatis singles to left, and I think it was his first game back or first series back. So it's tough when you make those decisions in the middle of the competition, and then obviously on the front end when somebody owns you or has had good fortune. It's really hard. I mean, it's hard for me to comment on the Yankees situation because I'm not there. I don't have the conversations. I know, for Garrett to do that, I did have him for a few years. It must have been weighing on him for much longer than just the 3 innings that he had pitched. And the pitcher obviously is the guy that's throwing the ball and needs to feel confident in what he's doing. So super hard situation. And a lot of times those are talked about before the game, and you're very aware of, like I was talking about Salvador Perez tonight against Tarek. Salvi has just as good in numbers against Tarek as anybody in baseball. So I'm circling that right now as a situation may arise. Doesn't mean we're going to want to pitch to Bobby Witt Jr., who hits right before him, but you got to be aware of the guys that see your guys.
All right, AJ, I asked you this, Hinch. I asked Cody Stavenhagen the other day this question. Do you know the significance of April 13th for you guys?
No.
Okay, that was the day you guys lost a doubleheader to the Twins. And in one of those games, you gave up a 7 spot. Sorry to bring this up to you. But if you guys would have won one of those 2 games, because over 55% of doubleheaders are split or something crazy, you guys not only would have the tiebreaker versus the Twins, you guys would actually be in the wild card right now. So how hard is it? Because I know as a player, I used to do it at the end of a year. I won game 163. I lost game 163. I lost the playoffs on the last day. You go back at the end of the year and you just go, gosh, we had a lead in this game, or if we just would have done this,
Totally.
if I could have just gotten a hit. Do you do that as a manager, or are you just so laser focused on the game that night that you say, all right, I don't even know what happened a week ago. It's time to focus on tonight?
But a little bit of both. I mean, obviously, we can go back. Like I've always said to our team, I've said it publicly, like it's a win total exercise. Like it's not this game or that game. It's trying to get as many wins as you can. And those wins count in April. They count in May. They count in June. We had a miserable June. And you can go back to a lot of different games. The hard thing to balance is like I got to go back to a few improbable wins too. Like Parker Meadows hitting a grand slam on the last pitch of the 9th inning in San Diego against Suarez, which salvaged a game. Like that's a game in your favor. So you can't just take the negative and say, oh, we should have done this or should have done that. The second part of that is this, we have a different team right now than we had on that April 13th. Like I would love to play that game over with this group of athletic guys that we've got some platoon advantage. We've got a really good thing going right now. They just don't let you do that. So it's different. I wish we had Kerry Carpenter all year. I wish we had Riley all year. What I don't want to do is focus on the what ifs right now. We got 10 games left because I don't want to take away what we're doing right now has been remarkable. And I'm very proud of everything about our team. And we're gonna focus on that moving forward. And you can bank on the fact that after the season, I'm going to replay a lot of things, regardless of what happens.
All right. Experience matters. You were the manager of the 2015 wild card winning Astros in Yankee Stadium, going up against the Yankees. Nobody thought you had a chance. Nobody thinks you have a chance to make the playoffs this year. How do you compare that team that made that run to that wild card game and almost bounced us out of the World Series chances for the Royals to this team in 2024, the Tigers that are revamped since the trade deadline?
Yeah, I was just telling this story the other day because I'm getting asked a lot by our players, like, what are the playoffs like? I'm like, they're like the games we're playing right now. Like, they're not any different. Maybe a little louder stands, obviously a little bit more emotion. A lot of things come into play during the playoffs. They're different, but the style of play is the same. Like, I'm going out at 4 2/3 and taking a starting pitcher out. We're pinch hitting in the 4th or 5th inning. We're trying to squeeze every run that we can. So we're playing that style right now. And I'm trying to get our players to understand that. The second part is what your question is like, this team in Houston in 15, we had not won in forever. We were leading the division all year. We got caught in September and then had to salvage the wild card berth to go to Yankee Stadium. We arrive at Yankee Stadium and you have 45, 50,000 people stand up for the first pitch of the game. And that was like an eye-opening experience for our guys. The one thing that both teams did that I've been around now is we believe. Like, we believe that we're going to win tonight, and we believe we can stack these wins and get to the finish line. Like, obviously, we don't control our own destiny because we don't play the team in front of us, but we do control our win total if we can stack wins to have enough to get into the playoffs. So I like what we're building. I like how we've gotten here. And it's fun to get to the ballpark every day. The first bus is jam-packed every day getting to the ballpark. And as players or ex-players, we all know what that means when the boys are getting to the ballpark early and what they, that they want to be around each other.
By the way, that 2015, Kratz just wanted to bring it up because he won a ring. And, honestly, you guys should have beat the Royals that year. I did that series for Fox, and you guys had them on the ropes, and you should have won Game 4, and they would have been home. And Kratz couldn't, show off his ring. So a little sad.
So let me tell you something about Kratz. Kratz is just mad because we DFA'd him once in my office in Boston, and he's never going to let me live it down. So he's always got to bring up, the one up that he has on me by getting a ring that year.
Got it.
Whoops. He likes to say fired, right?
Kratz. Yeah, you didn't DFA me. You fired me. I got fired. Whether it was right or wrong, we'll let the stats show if it was right or wrong. But I got fired.
Yeah, I've been there, Kratzy. I've been there. No, I've been
we all
there
have
a few times.
Hey, we all have. And I've been DFA'd in Boston. I've been fired in Boston. So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
That happens to everybody. No big deal, Kratzy. You should get over it at some point in your life. Okay.
It's kind of weird that I remember that it was Boston for Kratz too. I'm not even sure why I remember that, but I do.
There's a huge impact on your life, AJ. I get it.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Not on yours. And you've never been truly DFA'd. You've been DFA'd because people were sick of you. They were just sick of seeing me play. That was the biggest difference. They had a better person to play.
That's fine.
All right, you got last.
Yeah, all right. So this is my real question. Now that we've established that Kratz got DFA'd in Boston, can this momentum carry over? Let's say you guys don't make the postseason, and or you do make the postseason. Can this carry over to next year? And then will this say to your ownership group, and I know you're only the manager, you're not the GM, you're not in charge, hey, we're this close to really making the old Tigers run of when we had Fielder and Verlander and Scherzer and all those guys. Miggy, can we go out and spend some money and get the guys that we think will help us take the next step, which is a perennial playoff contender and make deep runs into the postseason?
Yeah, so I think this type of baseball, this atmosphere, the stress, the anxiousness is all good for players. Like when we play the game, we feel better the next time that you do something, right? So whether it's a couple of at bats and we're getting young players at bats, they're going to feel better at bats 100 through 200 than they did 0 to 100. Relievers come in, they get more comfortable in their routine. So this stuff matters, and it does matter no matter what happens and how that carries over into the experience that these guys have. Like we no longer are going to be able to say, hey, these are young players that haven't played in important games. These are guys that are taking at bats with the game on the line in a playoff chase. So that, I believe, does carry over. And then my job is to keep getting these guys better and keep putting us in a position to showcase the talent we have and how we can add to that. Is it add internally? We've got some really good young players that are still coming that are soon to get here. Do we need to fix, patch some holes in some other ways? Are going to be conversations that happen in the winter. But the better that we play, the more that those conversations come into the forefront. And I know, we want to win in Detroit. We've been preaching this for a long time. Our fans have been very patient. We're heading in the right direction, and we need to continue to stack those things in order to make those decisions more and more on the front end.
Yeah, great call. And Tigers fans are super excited about it all right now. So, dude, appreciate the time during the busy stretch here. It was great to catch up with you, of course.
People want to know if they can buy that hoodie you have on too, by the way. Even though I would never wear that, other people want to know.
So this is our travel gear. We rock this on the plane going to and from the new ones. We logo up with the Tiger, and no, they can't buy it unless you're on the team.
Yeah, you got to make it in the majors. All right. Good. Everyone has goals.
If you go on Twitter, that's so easy.
Some of our
so
fans
easy to make it.
55 years old, so they're probably not going to make it. But dare to dream. Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Hinch.
Talk soon.
You got it. See you, Pierzynski.
Okay, so I just want to recap that conversation. It was great. AJ Hinch, one of the better interviews.
The balloons at the end of the
game.
Nice touch.
Well, so many people have that setting on their phone where you do certain things and the emojis pop off. You've got the thumbs up. You've got the balloons. There's a couple others too that pop up. But you know what I just thought of? So I think I mentioned this to Hinch last time, so I wasn't going to bring it up now. And plus, it just didn't feel like the right time. But many people, at least in my world that I spoke to 4 or 5 years back, thought that AJ Hinch was going to be the manager of the White Sox.
The White Sox thought that he was going to be the manager of the White Sox.
So
until someone said, no, I'm going to hire my best friend, Tony La Russa.
Yeah, and I think AJ at the time wanted that job.
No, I think the Tigers, when he didn't get that job, were like, wait, what? He's still on the market?
Yeah.
We can get him?
So look at where they are now. And also, it's both. Look at where the teams are. Look at where the individuals are. You know what I'm saying, Kratz? Sometimes it's like your dream job isn't really your dream job.
Yes, you are exactly right. It's a good thing. Thankful for unanswered prayers. What is it? What is that country song?
Mm-hmm. Garth Brooks, yeah.
Yeah. You are correct.
I love thinking about things that almost happened and then making sure that we remind everyone about them years later.
But here's the thing with that.
Go ahead, AJ. I was going to say, we're dancing.
Yeah. Well, you guys got 40 seconds, so make it snappy.
What is the problem with the White Sox? It has been not their talent. They've had loads of talent. It's how they approach the game that hasn't maybe quite all locked in.
Also, if he goes there instead of La Russa with that core group, maybe they win. Maybe their development is better. Maybe everything doesn't change, and maybe they're still halfway decent instead of being the worst team of all time.
That's true, right?
I mean, there's a lot of ifs you can throw in here.
For sure.
Right? I mean, listen, not a knock on La Russa. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's won World Series, the whole deal. But, it worked one year, didn't work so great the next year, and then it's just fallen off a cliff since then.
Mm-hmm.
But if they hire Hinch instead of La Russa, maybe it changes the trajectory of the White Sox organization.
Yeah.
And the Tigers should have been, when he got hired, they felt like he was going to push this team into what they are right now, contending. But they've also had a ton of pitching injuries.
Better Than Box Scores does have to start with numbers because we're getting close to a really cool number in our sport. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers actually fell to the Marlins last night. We can talk about the game in a moment, but Ohtani hit a dinger. He's at 48 and 48. He's got 11 games left to play. Nice. He needs 2 more on the left side, 2 more on the right side, okay? Yesterday was a shot, too. Upper deck. Did you see? He waited a little longer than usual to admire it, and I loved it. He knew he got that one and wanted to see where it landed in upper tank, so he took an extra second, which was cool. And then so right now he's at 51-51 pace, according to Sarah Langs, with the 11 games left to go. And I thought this was interesting from Alden Gonzalez, who's been following the team around. He said that Ohtani denied feeling pressure to reach 50-50, but his manager, Dave Roberts, has noticed it is, quote, front of mind. And then he also added, as for whether his body can tolerate pitching in the playoffs, quote, I am not sure. But
yeah, he's not going to pitch in the playoffs. Let's get that out of our head. He's not. He's not going to do it. He's not. No. I'm telling you, he's not. They're not going to let him. Okay. You're just not.
There's a
Scott
great
is
video
still corporate.
If you want to watch. Yeah.
Scott is still corporate. You're still corporate. You're like, oh, that would be so great for baseball. I would love it.
He's like, now if they could just trade for Ellie, I'd have my 2 favorite players on the same team.
Is Ohtani one of my favorite players? No. I like him. But anyway, I do think it's front of mind. I think it's interesting to point that out from his manager. Dave Roberts has always been very straightforward about Ohtani. And here's one thing that I think we've learned about him. Numbers and individual accomplishments do matter a ton, individual accomplishments, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? I hate when some players, like, if you're in his spot and it's like, oh, I'm just trying to win games and get us in the playoffs. Like, shut up. We know that you also are trying to hit dingers and steal bases. Like, come on, you're a real person. And that's okay. You can do both. You can be the best, hit your numbers, and win ball games, right?
We're moving away from that now in baseball. That was always the answer. I think I believe that, like, let's say Royce Lewis is going for his 400th home run. I don't think he's going to be somebody that's going to give the cookie cutter answers. But before, it was very much like you have to be just these scripted answers. We don't give our opinion on things. We don't we don't express how we feel in certain situations. You're 100% thinking about it. Now, is Ohtani, all the things that he's been through, all the things he's able to accomplish, is he more of a bot than the rest of us? Maybe. I would agree with that. Like, he has a different level of focus and concentration based on what he's done in this season, going through what he went with the Ipe stuff, going through, Tommy John rehab right now, the pressure of a $700 million contract. He's another level mentally focused and obviously physically.
Yeah, I don't think he's feeling the heat. I think he's focused on hitting his numbers, but I don't think he's going to press in the next 11 games.
I don't. Here's what I'll say about this is, I don't care who you are, how great you are, and listen, Ohtani's been able to mentally block a lot of stuff that most people, let's not forget his translator is in jail now for stealing a lot of
Is
his
he
money.
in jail right
now? I don't know where, but he's going to jail at some point.
He's in court abyss.
And whatever. He's somewhere that he shouldn't be because he stole a lot of his money.
Mm-hmm.
He's been able to handle that. I mean, look where he's at his year. Okay, that was that was not that long ago. Okay,
March.
Yeah. So now we ask, as a player and as a human being, we are not robots. It starts creeping into your head. Man, I'm going to be the first dude ever to get to 50-50. Look how long it takes for some guys to hit milestone home runs, 500 home runs, 600 home runs, get their 300th win, whatever it is. He's thinking about this going, man, last year for Acuna, he was just throwing numbers out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is a specific target. Like with Aaron Judge, he's like chasing 60-plus home runs to, set another record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those things weigh on you. I don't care who you are. I don't care how immune you are to outside noises. In your mind, those numbers are still there.
And he loves the big, shiny, round numbers. Look at his contract, $700 million. Now, it's massively deferred, so it's not the actual present-day value. But he wanted that big, shiny number next to him. So you can always remember that's the dude that signed the contract for $700 million. So if you're saying, well, he's already set the record. Nobody's ever done 48-48. It ain't shiny. He's got to get to 50-50. Can you imagine, Kratz, for someone like him who I would say has an obsession with being the best and holding a massive legacy? Imagine if he finishes the year at 49 homers and 51 stolen bases. He's going to – it's like almost like a superstitious thing where you're like, oh, I didn't do my one extra thing I needed to do, my one extra walk around, whatever before I start a game, right? My one extra lace that I touch or some stupid superstition. It'll be like bothering him for eternity if he doesn't get there. And he might not get there again. Why?
No, because once he starts pitching, he misses days hitting.
Yeah. And you presumably think he will be maybe a tick down as a hitter.
Yeah.
This is the best hitting season we've ever seen.
His legs are a little slower, a little sluggish. Yeah. I always felt last year, anytime he was pitching, the games he was pitching, it looked like by the end of the game, if he hits a double or something, it just looked like – now he might have been just Cadillacing it to save some energy, but it almost looked like he ran different. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that, but I don't – like people don't understand the wear and tear of that. I think he's going to get there this year. I really do.
I do too. I think he's going to get there soon. I think he's trying to tee off on some Miami pitching right now.
They had a slugfest last night, and you know who really had the slugfest? Not the Dodgers.
The Marlins scored 11, and Bobby Miller got lit up. And
what is wrong with him?
Highest ERA in baseball among starters with that.
What happened to him? He was a guy they were counting on.
Yeah, but now things unravel, and you guys will know way, way better than I do. But I think that it starts with stuff and command. Now it's confidence, and it's kind of like you need a whole reset, and you're out of time.
But he already went down.
I know.
They already sent him down.
So next year, I mean, you can't afford.
You're going to shut him down? You're going to shut him down?
What are you going to do? You're the manager of the Dodgers right now.
What are my options?
The playoffs are in a week and a half. The options are that you don't put him on your roster.
Okay,
for
who?
Playoffs, or you do.
For who?
That they can figure out back end arms to have. I mean, he's not going to start a game, so you're going to have him come out of the bullpen. Like you starting.
I don't know. You need a mop up guy. What happens if one of your starters goes to get whacked?
So he's the mop up guy.
I mean, you got Yamamoto.
Yeah.
You got Bueller. You trusting him?
More than Miller
Knack?
right now. Way more than both. Yes. Knack's had his up and downs, but I'm trusting.
Who are the other ones?
How's Gavin
Flaherty?
Flaherty's in. Anyone know his update on the shoulder?
Flaherty's in. Flaherty and Yamamoto 1-2.
Yes. That's the easy part. Then what?
That's what I'm saying. You need length somewhere.
Tony Gonsolin's trying to work his way back. And
Dustin May's going to make an appearance?
No, he's got the esophagus. But Tony Gonsolin, for real, is, I think, he either did or is about to do 4 innings in a rehab just to try and get himself back. And then they're going to evaluate if he's ready to contribute more. Hey, we talked about this several times. They don't
trust Tony Gonsolin 2 years ago when he won like 2022. He won how many games? Did he make the All-Star team? They trusted him barely to start. He was like an opener for him against San Diego.
They couldn't wait to get him out.
They couldn't wait to get him out of the game. Now he ain't pitched all year, and they're like, hey, by the way, you're going to start game 3 for us against the Padres again.
Bobby Miller can't start a playoff game unless he pitches a no-hitter in his next start and his maybe last start before.
Even then.
I mean, think about it then. What are you doing?
But what happened? Kratz, what happened to him? Because he came into the year, they were like, this guy throws 100. He's got all these pitches. He's going to be a stud. And then, what's his 5, almost a 6? Isn't it almost a 6?
It's bad. Yeah. Just
Right?
it's
Like
bad.
560 something.
Yeah. I mean, what happened?
You watch the game and you listen to what the guys on the team last year talked about. Lance Lynn even said it. He's like, this dude, like just the way he goes about his business, how his demeanor on the mound, he is that guy. Like everybody thought he was going to take the next step, and he's taking a step backwards. To me, you look at his stuff analytically, it's a tick down. His spin isn't as efficient, so he's going to give up more home runs. His perceived velocity at home plate is down. His actual velocity is down a tick, not a lot, half a mile to a mile per hour on different pitches. But so does that mean he doesn't feel 100%? He's in essentially his second year in the big leagues. And, he's grinding through stuff. He's working through stuff. But if I knew the answer, I'd be working for the Dodgers right now.
I mean, he's got one pitch. The rest of them are getting absolutely annihilated. It's the changeup. And when he keeps that down, it's good. That's it. Nothing else is working.
He also is not throwing quality strikes. When he does those strikes, they're not quality strikes.
Right. There's not command. The sinker gets torched, even the four-seamer, which if you look at like his StatCast page and you're looking for, a lot of the analytics guys will see where's the red, where's the blue. There's one red. Fastball velo is still great, close to 90.
But he didn't throw for a strike enough.
Right. But that's it. Everything else is a disaster, And I'm not just talking about the basic numbers. I'm like, he's not getting chase, whiffs. He's walking too many guys. The barrel rate's brutal.
But, okay, so how do you get chase? You get ahead of guys, and then you make them chase because they're behind in the count, right? How do you lower barrel rates? You be ahead of guys. How do you get whiffs? Most of the time, you're ahead of guys, and you get them to swing out of the zone. You get them to swing at the 1-0. But if you're constantly 1-0, 2-0, like if you watch him pitch, he is behind in the count a lot, right? So when he's behind in the count, guys are like, all right, I'm not going to swing at that changeup down 2-0. I'll take it, and he'll make a mistake in the zone. So if he's not ahead in the count and he's not going after guys, then it reverts back to big league hitters just don't chase.
Yep, you're right. So
his numbers against right-handed hitters this year, he has an 8.1 ERA. His fielding independent, his FIP is a 6. He has nothing to combat righties right now, and it's.
You guys are proving my point. He can't pitch in the playoffs right now in any
I'm
capacity.
not saying he can.
He can't pitch.
We got to hit break because we got Junior coming on. I can't wait to talk.
Let's talk to Kenny Ball game. Ken
Special
Rosenthal.
message for Ken today.
Special message for
Oh,
Ken.
yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to hear about this. And he's written a ton of articles in the last few days that we'll get into. Red Sox, Dodgers, Tigers, and more. Inside Scoop next. We are 2 minutes away from the Inside Scoop with Ken Rosenthal, but before we do that, let's get the Inside Scoop on your nose.
My nose is fine. It's not my nose I'm worried about. That was a terrible, terrible segue, by the way. Terrible segue.
I'm always worried about Erik Kratz's health, his congestion, how he sounds. My favorite part was last week. Not my favorite part of the trip, but last week I'm next to Kratz, and he pointed out the difference between his voice at one point when we were talking about Navage and how he forgot to bring it on the road. And you could tell. You could tell the difference from how he spoke. He was more nasally and he wasn't overdoing it, trying to be a character. He just spoke, and then he's like, do you hear a difference? And I was like, I do hear a difference. So anyway, Kratz, have you been back on your Navage game since you've been home?
I'm back. I'm back, baby. But I'm running low on my salt pods. If I don't get my salt pods in a few days, I am out of luck. But it's just, I'm not even congested. I'll be honest. I'm really looking forward to the first cold. I know people don't even say that. Why would somebody look forward to a cold? But I want to see how this just clears everything up. Makes your cold just not last as long. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what it can do, because what it's done so far, I'm locked.
Game changer for clearing congestion fast. Drug-free, uses 99.9% pure saline salt pods. No medicinal side effects. Works as fast as 30 seconds, effectively unlocking and flushing mucus from the nasal passages. And this is what you need to do to get a little more with your order. You can get a cleaning kit as a free gift with your order for the FT fam if you go to navage.com/FOUL. Okay, give it a shot. You can get a convenient Navage starter pack, including a nose cleaner with batteries and 30 original salt pods. Everything you need to get started, plus that cleaning kit is a free gift with your order by going to navage.com/foul using promo code FOUL. Again, NAVAGE.com/FOUL. We'll do the inside scoop for baseball next. Let's hit the inside scoop with Ken Rosenthal. Ken, good to see you. Rattling off articles right now in The Athletic, too. Quite a few really interesting deep dives on teams in very different spots. So, Ken, let's start with the Dodgers. We were just talking about them. We covered your article yesterday on Baseball America Hot Sheet as well to get the minor league perspective. But can you tell us what you've been learning about the way that they're developing pitching and how they're going to be able to fix this? That's the next step in the offseason because they are missing way too many guys right now.
Absolutely. And I can't say I've learned anything that revelatory, but the one thing I cited in the article was how that Tulsa staff last year, according to Baseball America, their AA staff in mid-June or so was the hardest throwing staff in baseball, Major League Baseball and minor league baseball. And since then, 4 of their 6 starters who were active at that time have undergone major surgeries. So clearly something is going on. Andrew Friedman, their president of baseball operations, has said they're going to have to reimagine their development a little bit this offseason and take a deep dive into what has gone wrong. They are not the only team in this position. We all know that. They are the only team, though, that spent $1 billion last offseason and almost $500 million on pitching. So clearly, when you're down to where they're down to, Jack Flaherty, Yamamoto just coming back from an injury, maybe Walker Buehler, maybe Kershaw, who knows? It's not a great situation.
All right, Ken, we just had Hinch on here before you. He's a great interview, let me say. I mean, you've got a lot to live up to. You wrote an article about the Tigers and taking the next step. I asked him if the momentum from this year can carry over into them performing next year and also spending. So is that a real thing that the Tigers have to look at? Because for me, they're 1 or 2 pieces away from being a perennial contender.
That was the premise of what I wrote, AJ, and I listened to AJ Hinch, and he didn't really answer your question, in my opinion. Now, as far as taking the next step financially, that is the question, and that's the kind of thing I raised in that story today, that column. Clearly, they are in position to do that. Their commitments for next year are only at about $38 million. You add an arbitration salary, it's probably between $50 and $60 million. They've got plenty of room to grow their payroll. So then the question becomes, what do you do? And this is a tough moment for teams when they get to this point, when they're coming out of the rebuild and it's time to actually take some chances and do some things that, frankly, might make you look bad. And free agents, as we all know, can make you look bad. They can also make you look really good. So my expectation with them is that they will do some things and maybe even some bigger things, but they're going to be careful. They're going to be trying to be selective about which players they bring in. Obviously, all teams do this, but they've gotten to this point because they've been pretty disciplined. They haven't been perfect. No team is. But they've been pretty restrained in what they've done. You look at that $38 million they've got committed, $25 million of it's in Javi. I think $12 million of it is in Maeda, and then the rest is Colt Keith, who signed an extension. So they haven't made many mistakes, and Javi Baez was the previous regime's mistake. So I can definitely see them being active this winter. They should be active this winter, but keep in mind, It doesn't always work out like it's worked out for Kansas City. Cincinnati is kind of the opposite extreme for a low revenue team this year. Cincinnati spent more than $100 million in free agents last year, and we all thought, wow, they're going for it, good for them, and it hasn't worked out. They're a sub 500 club.
I also think there could be a few more teams involved that weren't last year, and you might think that you're offering a fair price, but you get beat and you don't get the players that you want, and you get shut out. Not shut out, but shut out of the guys that you want. Okay, so Ken, next team I want to ask you about, and I've been very excited to ask you this question, the San Francisco Giants, and the article from your colleague Andrew Baggerly about how Buster Posey had to step in and get the Matt Chapman deal done, and got him in, a no trade clause that he wanted, and they got it signed and sealed. I'm like, what? The GM is not the one who gets to the finish line here? And does that say anything about how ownership is looking at this current regime for the San Francisco Giants, who, I want to point this part out real quick too, took a lot of time to put their team together last offseason. And at least one of those situations really cost them, and that's Blake Snell. Like, you signed him, he's been awesome. But if you sign him a month and a half prior, maybe he would have given you an extra 10 to 15 starts. I'm just saying, like, you get so cute with what the price is that you forget that you're actually trying to be friends with the player and have them contribute.
Fair point. And in Snell's case, I would say that the Giants were not the only team that were waiting around for the price to drop. There were 29 other teams that didn't sign him either. So there is so much blame that can be assessed there. But the Chapman question is really interesting, and what happened there and what Andrew Baggerly reported in The Athletic is fascinating, because it does show to me from the outside, and you never know the inner workings of an organization, but if you're looking at this and looking at what happened, that Buster Posey and ownership had to finish that deal. Scott Boras insists that the terms were relatively in place between him and Farhan, the money, the years, but it wasn't getting done, and it had to get done in the ownership's estimation, and that's why there was some interference at the end from those people. So it does not bode well, I would say, for their president of baseball operations, Farhan Zaidi, who has been kind of in trouble for a little bit now. And I don't know where this is ending up, but what's interesting to me, the most interesting thing here, is that Buster Posey seemingly is taking an active role in how that club is going to look in the future. He is going to be part of the direction that they set, one way or the other. And that is really interesting, because covering him as a player, and AJ, you know him, and Erik, you know him too, I would not have anticipated that. Buster was kind of a reserved guy, a leader in his own way, no question, silent and strong, that type. But I never envisioned him really being an out front guy for a franchise the way it looks like he might be becoming actually.
Do we know if this article is true or not? Because my friend wrote it. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? Sorry, Ken.
Keep going, AJ. Keep going.
No, that's it. I'm keeping going.
Keep going.
That wasn't meant for you. That wasn't meant for you. They knew who it was meant for. Let me say this. MLB recently announced they're doing decals on their helmet for the postseason in the minor leagues. From a company, I'm going to be honest, I've heard of Levi Strauss and Company, but I never heard of this company that they came up with. Was there not a better deal on the table? Was there not a company that someone actually has heard of before? You're telling me like a T-Mobile or an AT&T or some other company couldn't have come and said, man, we'll do that for $50 million? I don't know. It seems like this, I don't know, did anyone even hear about this before they went to it? Or was it put out to the public to bidding to open, or they were just like, oh, this company made us an offer, let's go for it?
These are fair questions. And I must admit, I have not looked into this, but now that you raise it, AJ, it's an interesting point, because if you're going to do this, you would open up the bidding, right, and take the highest bid. Now, I thought the question you were going to ask me about the decals was, is this even necessary? Why are we doing this? Why this particular money grab? But the tendency of this sport has been to get money when it can, where it can. And it's done that with its television arrangements, bouncing around with the different networks, and it's done that in a variety of ways. The patches, which are individual club decisions, but that's been kind of the ethos of the sport. Gambling is another thing that they've dipped their toe into. Granted, every other sport did as well, but when there's money to be had, MLB is not running from it, put it that way. And this was, in their minds, another revenue opportunity. I'm not offended by it. I know our Tyler Kepner from The Athletic wrote a really good scathing column about it. He does not like this. I don't get that bothered by it, but the endless money grabs, which seems to be continuing here, that kind of irks me a little bit.
Ken, do you think that baseball gets unfairly treated here? Maybe because there's a nostalgia factor, though. I mean, soccer, I don't watch soccer regularly. I don't even know who the teams are, right? If I'm from the outside looking in, I know who the logos are, and they've been doing that for decades. So I'm like,
There's no
I
question.
get it, but like if it brings money to the sport, like welcome to 2024. It's not affecting the sport on the field. This is aesthetics, you know? It's like,
Scott, that's the counter argument, and it's a fair one. And baseball is held to a higher standard because of the place baseball is held in our society, the national pastime, all of that. Maybe that's an unfair standard in this day and age. I can see that argument for sure. And I know that going back to Commissioner Seelig and even before that, there would be some grumblings about, hey, how come we're criticized for this when other sports do this? That is a fair thing to say. I just wonder at some point where you draw the line and where it becomes a question of, you know what, this is not a great look. I don't know that helmet decals are that. Again, it didn't bother me all that much. It doesn't bother me all that much. It's just kind of like every time I pick my head up, they're making some other deal. And you're right. They have to make money. That's their job. That's the commissioner's job, to make money for the owners. But at the same time, for those who are bothered by the aesthetics and by just the kind of vibe that it creates, I get that too.
yeah, I get it. For me, it just didn't hit my line yet. And I'm like, baseball is not king anymore. The NFL is more king than baseball. Nobody would dispute that anymore. Baseball is not the same from 30, 40 years ago, which I think the whole sport has to always remember too, is like there's ways you have to keep up content, marketing, revenue, etc., to still be able to be among the top sports. So yeah, I was a little passionate about it. I'm like, I think most people need to relax. If you were offered $25 million to put something somewhere, you'd probably do it.
It depends on
But
what and where.
question, Scott, AJ's question is a good one. Was this an open bidding, or did Strauss just come to them and say, let's do this? If you're going for it, then go for it all the way, right?
I would
Joe
never
would have
do
been
that.
sick.
I would never do that.
Exactly. Look at his shirt.
Yeah. Foul territory stickers would have been sick, by the way. I'm just saying.
We're not rich enough
Every
yet.
helmet, that would have been
We
sick.
need more
Ken
viewers.
could have paid for it. Ken, before we let you go, tomorrow you are Philly, New York, correct?
Correct.
I am mad you're not in Milwaukee because we could celebrate. You know what tomorrow is, everybody? It's Ken Rosenthal's 75th birthday tomorrow, so we could have wished him a happy birthday on the air. Don't worry, Ken, we will get it on our game that I'm sure is not going to as many people as your game, but I will make sure that during a game break or something, we have them cut to you with a little hat on, maybe to put some confetti on, some candles, and we'll go from there.
And the Brewers might have champagne for you too.
Another great point.
75, pretty good, huh, AJ? Pretty good that I got
You
there.
look damn good. Looking damn good for 75, but the Brewers might clinch tomorrow.
They could clinch tonight, actually. I'm
I
hoping
hope
they wait
don't,
till
though.
tomorrow.
I
I
hope
hope,
they
trust
clinch
me.
for Ken's birthday. So.
Yes.
Well, Ken,
We actually
happy
could have a
early-
Phillies clinch tomorrow, too. That's
right.
possible. Clinch of the division, it's going to take a little bit of work, but it is possible.
Okay, so there might be a lot of champagne bottles popping tomorrow for Ken's
Ken knows
birthday.
how much. I know how much Ken loves champagne poured on his head, too. He loves it.
Hey, listen back to Fair Territory from earlier this week about the suit talk and inside dish. So, Ken, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Mondays and Thursdays, Fair Territory. And, of course, we're back at it with the live show, 12:30 Eastern tomorrow, live on YouTube. Ken and Alana Rizzo taking over and answering your questions, too. Here we go. We didn't really get too many of your thoughts. There were two big stories I remember last week that hit late in the week where I was like, oh, AJ would have liked this. And we mostly went over that Twins minor leaguer scandal and how I think people should just look back to the Lance Lynn interview to learn more about what's gone on in the minor leagues over time. But then the other part was the helmet. Like, you call playoff games, you're going to see them.
The whole thing for me is again, I don't even know what Strauss is.
But who cares?
I understand
it's not
that.
like a bad word.
But no. But what I'm saying is like I remember a couple years ago when I first started working at Fox, Hankook was the Hankook tires. I don't know what that was.
Tires.
And they were doing it, and Joe Davis would be like Hankook, and I'm like, maybe Google what Hankook was.
Hankook.
Whatever.
I had to say it a million times when I worked at the league.
Yeah.
But wait, You are proving the point.
That's what I'm saying.
That is why you pay for this.
That is the point. But here's my next question, though. Are you telling me that we couldn't find a more known company in America, North America?
Yeah, but
this isn't trying to sound like, but what I'm saying is there's not. You don't think Anheuser-Busch or
I'm going to present you a case.
If let's say Strauss offered them $50 million for 5 years, you telling me you couldn't have gone to Anheuser-Busch or Coors or any of those places and said, hey, if you give us $55 million, we'll do this. They would have been like, here's the check, bro.
They have a massive sales team. I've worked with many people there. They did their homework. I bet you they got the highest bid from this group. So Here's the thing. I don't know what the number is. Maybe we'll find out at some point. But let's say the number was $50 million. They might not have gotten anything from those big companies over 30. And then they're like, well, this smaller company, but who cares? It's a legit company.
Okay, where does the $50 million go to, though?
I can't describe. Well, it goes to, I think, the league office.
Free
the
agency.
team split it up. Yeah,
I mean, each team got like 1.2 million to spend on 1.1 million, whatever it is, 1.2 million to spend on players.
Hey, that adds up. When you do $1 billion of those deals, it adds
Pirates
up.
can sign somebody now.
Yeah, I mean, look at the business as a whole, right? Yeah, right. It's what is it? $13-14 billion revenue business. So you rack up these deals. That's what you do. There's 1 million sponsors that want to be around sports and baseball.
Yeah, but the teams did their individual ones.
Correct. They had that.
Right.
But this was
like the Yankees will charge you $50 to put the Star Insurance patch on their sleeve.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's unbelievable.
$50 million. Yeah. But
and
yeah.
Remember, you're like, get your official Yankees jersey. And if you want the Star Insurance patch, it's another $50.
By the way.
That was a big miss by them. Big miss.
Call me.
Levi's.
Okay, so let's continue this conversation about the San Francisco Giants. I've been waiting to get to this. We've just been busy this week. So it came out a couple days ago that Buster Posey had to step in and get the Matt Chapman deal done. That's essentially what the report says. And we just spoke to Ken about it. And in the story, it says Zaidi, as the club's chief baseball officer, talking about Farhan, did not have the same latitude to circumvent Scott Boras and deal directly with Chapman. So was this A, Kratz, a clever way to get a deal done by bringing in a player who can speak to another player and say, we love you, let's figure this out stat? Or was this B, a frustrated ownership group saying, can we stop pitter-pattering and get a deal done and not worry about every single small thing that you have to get leverage on, right? Like if the dude wants a no-trade clause because he wants to stake his claim to this land and say, I'm here, I don't have to worry about it, then give it to him. You can't do that in every case, but it seemed like that was what kind of got them to the finish line here.
I think it's both. I think ownership had Buster Posey step in, ex-player, future Hall of Famer, ex-player that played in that city, make the connection because they were sick of the pitter-patter. They were sick of maybe nickel and diming by Farhan and the group. We're speculating on that, but what I can definitely not speculate on is the fact that Buster Posey loved being in San Francisco. He was he wasn't even from that area, and he loved and still lives out there. I thought, as he even said, when he was done, he was going to move back and stay in Georgia. He's back in San Francisco. That's how much he loves it. What a better way to convince somebody to sign a contract, a long-term extension, than somebody who has done it themselves twice. He signed 2 different contracts. So to me, I think it was ownership's way of saying, stop nickel and diming, Buster, go finish the job here.
Yeah. I think they got the deal done, so who really cares how they got it done?
Well, I think it has more to say about the future of the front office.
Well, also
They're
true. But I mean, Buster's been around. Buster knows this organization. He knows the city, like Kratz said, he enjoys it. And I'm sure, I don't know how much Buster is around on a day-to-day basis, but I guarantee you Matt Chapman knows who the heck Buster Posey is. So when Buster Posey comes and sits down next to him and goes, hey, what will it take to get this done? Because let's not forget, Scott Boras doesn't do these in-season extensions very often. So maybe this was a way for Buster to sit down with Matt Chapman. Maybe they went to dinner. Maybe they went to lunch. Maybe they went, I don't know, whatever they do. Went out to Alcatraz and sat in a cell, locked him in a cell and said, how do we get this done? Okay. But they sat down and he said, all right, what will it take? They must have been close on the money because Buster's not really in a position to sell the money. But he's like, is there something else you want? He's like, no trade or whatever it is and whatever, blah, sweet on the road, blah, 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 whatever those things were. And Buster's like, I can get those done for you. Boom. And he's like, if I get these done, will you accept it? Because normally what happens is if it comes to this, and as you go through negotiations, they'll say, okay, you'll go back and forth. And you say, all right, if we give you this, will you accept the deal? And if you say yes, then Buster goes, okay, all we got to do is give him a no trade. And their front officer, the owner's like, easy, done. He's been a great player. Sure. Okay, done. Way to go, Matt. Congratulations, shake hands. Now you're buying lunch.
I know for a fact that Buster went through these negotiations because he signed a long-term contract. But I also know he went through, they made an offer that was way lower than I think he got 8 years, 160, way lower. And so maybe there was something in the negotiation that Matt Chapman was like, hey, I want this much more, or hey, I want this. And Buster stepped in and just gave him, knowing Buster, just gave him his opinion of how ownership handles things and how ownership deals with things, because he saw Crawford get extensions. He saw Brandon Belt get some money. He saw himself get money. He saw Madison Bumgarner maybe not necessarily get exactly what Madison Bumgarner wanted to get. And so he has information about how ownership handles guys. And then Matt was able to make the decision based on all the information he got.
That's cool. I love that story. I'm just wondering why a GM can't get that done. It's a bad look.
Not the same connection. Not the same connection.
Okay, but his contract's only through next year, so he might be let go after this season, dude. It's tough times right now in San Francisco, and it shouldn't be. You know, they've been working on building this thing back up, and aside from that one outlier season, Farhan's a really nice guy. Seems super smart. When you talk to him, like, this dude's smarter than me. Everyone says that, right? And he finds diamonds in the rough, but he hasn't put a winner together. And it's been 6 years. Like, you've only got one winning season out of it. So I think right now the seat is really hot. It's really hot. It's so hot that it might not even get him to the offseason. That's just how I feel.
But I don't think this situation happened because I don't think Buster Posey stepping in was because, well, we don't like Farhan, and I don't think he's doing a good job. I think Farhan's everything that you said. I just think Buster was the one that helped push this across the finish line. Or could have helped put it.
Here's the criticism I'll give, because I would say this to Farhan. I think sometimes he's been known to get a little bit too cute on things. You go back to the Dodgers days when they were really good, but they weren't winning, in October, and they were doing all the platoons and everything. You remember that? Where there was this few years where it's like
they had the 1 year where they won.
What?
They had the 1 year where they won.
In 2020, you're saying?
No.
The Giants. Yeah,
Giants.
I'm saying, but even going back to his Dodger days, Farhan was part of the group that would get criticized for being too cute with platooning, and he leaves, and then they got rid of that. And then pretty quickly things changed. Now, I know, the Dodgers haven't won besides 2020, but I just wonder if that's the case here too. So, Kratz, take over for a second. Craig Kimbrell just got DFA'd. Your thoughts?
Well, I guess it looks like the Brewers are going to pick up Craig Kimbrell. It's so tough. It's so tough what happened last night. It wasn't them just hitting balls hard, and it wasn't the fact that, like, he gave up 6 runs last night, so now they're going to DFA him. He was in that game. He was already in a position where they were trying to find him innings to get him back to form. His velocity isn't even quite where it was last year. They saw what has happened and how he's been used by other teams in the postseason. I think when they signed him, it was kind of a hope thing. If they could have stuck with Craig Kimbrell in the 7th inning the whole year, found a closer, had Yanier Cano locked down the 8th, it's all different. It's tough because you sit there and you go, man, like, what could Craig Kimbrell have been if they didn't need to have put him in big situations? Well, when they signed him, he ended up being not just a depth piece in a sense, like a quality depth piece, not a AAA depth piece, but he ended up being a guy that they had to lean on. And maybe he's not somebody that is able to be leaned on, but he's going to be available to all playoff teams that need a arm for the last 9 games of the season.
Yeah, here's the thing with Craig. I love Dirty Craig. I love Craig. He came on the show in spring training right before he went fishing, and when we were in Sarasota. But listen, he wasn't pitching, and when he signed with Baltimore, everybody was like, "That's their big move," because we all remember how Craig ended in Philadelphia last year, and so that was a big question mark. And then he got off to a good start, but then as we've seen with Craig the last few years, he gets off to good starts, and then it kind of starts crumbling away slowly. And then once it goes away, it's like gone. So then he goes the offseason, can kind of fix it. He signs, and then he starts again hot. This year, what happened is the Orioles are in it right now because they are struggling. Like, their bullpen is not good. Their starting pitchers are banged up. They can't hit. So they're looking for anything. And so to have a piece like Craig Kimbrell sitting in the bullpen, and Brandon Hyde said it last night, he hadn't pitched for a week, and I can't find anywhere to pitch him because we're in it right now. So they had to make this move, and it sucks for Craig. And I'm sorry, Craig. I love you to death, but this is just what happens. There comes a point in everyone's career where you're like, I'm not that guy anymore. And it just happens to be today for Craig Kimbrell. And listen, he's one of my all-time favorite dudes I ever was around. And I love Craig, and you had a great career. If it's not over, good, keep going. But this is just it's tough, especially this time.
It was a bad signing. I mean, I don't mean that in bringing the player in. I mean, still had a lot of talent and stuff from last year. I think they were looking for him to be the 9th inning savior when they had the best closer in baseball last year in Felix Bautista. That was not the adequate replacement. Wait, fast forward, trade deadline. Again, didn't find the adequate replacement. How do the Padres get multiple high leverage arms and you're not in on that? How did you lose out on that? That's my question, right? If I'm the boss for Michael Eyes, who was very straightforward yesterday, said, I put the roster together, I put the staff together, I put the personnel together, results in this business, whether it's this year or other years, it starts right here with me. He didn't anticipate the loss of depth the second half through injury. But my thing is, dude, injury, sure. It's not like they've been hit like crazy. We go over the whole league. So sometimes
their starting pitching's been hit pretty hard, though.
It's been hit, but
hard.
Dude.
You lose Means.
Okay.
Bradish. Hey, Tommy.
Grayson.
Bradish.
Hey.
Grayson for a while.
Yeah. We'll get to Tommy in 1 second.
Sneak peek, Tommy.
I'm just glad Tommy wasn't like.
Well, we'll get to that.
He doesn't give up runs.
Okay, but let's say Grayson's coming back. Still, we're going into the playoffs. The offense is a bunch of young dudes, and
but they aren't hitting.
They're not hitting.
Their defense has gone. They're dropping pop-ups now. I mean,
yeah. The relief pitching is probably the best part of what they're doing right now, but that's not a compliment. I'm just saying, heading into the playoffs, they should have had a Carlos Estevez, Tanner Scott, Jason Adam. They had to get one of those.
And
guys.
they also made some interesting trades at the deadline, like we talked about with Rich Giroli, because they had an opportunity to go out and get pieces to help them. And listen, they had to be controllable for other years. When other teams are like, the Dodgers go out and get Jack Flaherty, and they're like, yeah, he can help us right now, and yeah, he's a free agent. Who cares? We'll find someone else for next year. We're worried about this year. It seems like the Orioles are always worried about next year. Oh, next year. Oh, next year. Oh, 2 years from now.
They are. They were like, Rodgers, he can be great and help fill one of the pegs we need in our rotation for 25. I'm like, dude, try to win now.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kimbrell is DFA'd. We'll see if he lands with another ball club. But wait, you can't go to a team now.
He can. You just can't be in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs.
He can play in the playoffs.
That changes. Yeah. All right, we'll swing right back. Tommy Kahnle is ready to go, sitting in the green room, 2 minutes away from joining us. Dude picked up a safety the other day. That's the Babel beep that you need to hear when you're doing things correctly through the app. So if you're looking to learn a new language, let's say you're going to another country soon, or I don't know, maybe there's a favorite restaurant of yours where you want to be able to talk game and learn, I don't know, Spanish,
Is
Russian.
there a favorite
whatever
restaurant
it
where you
is.
go in and you're like, man, I need to speak Russian?
For me, Spanish. I'm in Brooklyn a lot. I'm in Miami a lot. Just
I'm
New
in
York City
Miami,
in general.
bitch.
Yeah, exactly. That was smooth during a break too.
I know what I'm doing.
You do. But yeah, I do drop Spanish pretty frequently. Actually, even here in some of the car services sometimes, right? The car apps, when I'm coming from the airport, sometimes I'll have a conversation. I spoke to the other day, the entire car ride when I was going to the airport, to a guy who was a doctor in Cuba and got out and is here now. So, and that was all because I'm learning my vocab words on.
Whoa. The doctor was driving you?
Yes.
Or he was in the car with you? You're an Uber sharer?
No, he was driving me.
Oh, okay.
He can't practice here yet. He's got to go through. He was a 20+ year doctor there, making like $25 a month. Not to get into that whole world, but anyway, had a great combo. The reason we could. Now, I'm not perfect by any means.
Play
I'm
the
not
music.
even close. But there it is. That's why. Because I do the flashcards. That's really why, Kratz. I go on the app, I do the flashcards, and I get up to speed on what I need to say. I'm talking to him, at least for now, in pretty broken Spanish, but I'm able to put enough vocab words together to have a conversation the whole time.
Donde está el baño? That's all you need to know, Scott.
No, I'm asking him how much he was getting paid there. I'm asking him how many years he's been here. He was the whole deal. So it was awesome. But anyway, if you want to check it out for yourself, they also have speech recognition technology to help you improve your pronunciation and your accent. Here's a special deal just for you. Up to 60% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/foul. Up to 60% off at babbel.com/foul. Rules and restrictions may apply. We'll be right back. I am very much looking forward to this one. Good to catch up with our friend Tommy Kahnle, who's one of our OG guests. He's been with us since this show was just a teeny tiny baby. So racking up a save the other day. I'm excited to get into all of that. Tommy, great to have you on. Before I start, I was challenged in our chat to say that anyone watching this right now should actually subscribe if they're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Bally Sports Marquee, the whole deal, awesome. It's great to have you on there. If you're on the app, if you're watching on YouTube right now and you're not actually subscribed, it'd be cool if you could, because we are 2 subs away from 57,000. So anyway, I was dared to do it, Tommy. I know you wouldn't care if I said that before I say hello. How you doing?
Good, guys. How's it going? Oh, man.
Good, dude.
A little under the weather. It's all good, though.
Uh-oh. Talk to
Oh,
us.
yeah.
What's wrong?
Kids
You got the Seattle flu
sick.
or what?
No, your kids get sick, you're definitely getting it. They're all up in your face. Oh,
Could be
yeah.
that shirt you're wearing. What is that shirt you're wearing?
Go Irish.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably why
Go
you're sick.
Horsemen.
It's making me sick.
The Florida Gators are
Yeah.
making AJ sick
Well, that's
this
for
year.
sure.
Yeah. How is
Ooh.
Seattle, though? I mean, dude,
Northern Illinois isn't making me sick, though. Go Huskies.
There you
No, what a game. Yeah, I was not too happy about that one.
How about last night? You guys smacked the Mariners. You kind of ended their season, to be honest. I mean, I know you might not say that, but I can. I mean, they had like a super, super outside chance. But what was it like last night? You guys had it going from the jump. Martian gets his first home run of the season. Soto hits the 30 ballpark, whatever he wants to call it, checklist that he wanted. What was it like?
It was cool, man. I always have a great time here. I love this stadium. I always say I think it's my number one. Just in terms of, we came out, set the tone, and took it from there. Guys are on one, and Soto got his 40th, his 200th. It was great to see. Guy's incredible. Oh man. But it was overall a great game. I mean, it was fun. We had a lot of fun.
So can I ask you a question about that ballpark and anything you observe? So the Mariners have insane pitching. Their starting staff is really good. That's no secret. I'm sure you know about that, right? So your offense gets there first time this year and just explodes. Some players will say it is so difficult to hit there. What do you see? What does it look like from your perspective? Because your team just put up double-digit runs in day one. I know it's just one game, but I don't know. Is that a fair excuse to say for Seattle?
So obviously, everybody around baseball knows kind of Seattle's it's more of a pitcher's park. I mean, it always has been, especially at night. And to see that offense that we put out there last night that was incredible to watch. These guys are good, man. Got to give them credit. They're good.
Yeah, they're good,
Yep.
but do you hear any of them say anything? Do you hear any of them say like, oh man, I mean, I know Judgy's not saying he's got like 6 homers, like 100 RBIs in like 4 games in Seattle, but do you hear any of them say, I don't like this batter's eye. I don't like, how it's angled or anything like that?
I haven't heard them say anything about it. They don't complain about it or anything. I think that's the approach. You got to realize, screw what it is, and just go out there and play ball.
You felt that way, AJ.
I love playing in Seattle. Dude, I loved hitting there.
Yeah.
I've said this from the jump, man. I don't know what people – it's like people talk themselves into, like, making it into a thing. Like, just go out and play. Nelson Cruz didn't have no problem when he was there. He was still hitting dingers.
Yeah, he had other help, but yeah, sure.
Tommy,
Is
there a place you like to pitch? Is there a mound where you're like, this mound is Brutes Magoots? Not saying you've done bad or done good at that place. Is there one that you're like, it looks like the hitters are really close to me?
I mean, definitely don't like pitching in Colorado. That's for sure. That's number one.
Houston?
That one's I actually like Houston a lot. Even though I'm not a fan of the dome, but that's me. But I'm not a big dome guy. I like pitching the outdoors, the elements. But trying to think, I've always loved pitching in, I would say, Kansas City. I feel like that's a good one. I always felt like I did very well there. So I don't know. There's a lot of ballparks, I mean, I feel like, oh man, I can't even. There's a few that definitely strike you as they would be a little bit of a bang box, but what do you got? San Fran's a really good one. Pitching at really good, especially at night. Love it there.
let's just be honest. You deal everywhere, which brings me to my next point. All right, you got the save. You guys have kind of been going through the closer, like, who's the closer? We don't need a closer. We do need a closer. Why do you only have 8 career saves in your life? Do your managers, like, they look at you and they're like, can't trust Tommy. Can't trust Tommy in the 9th inning. Why do you think that is? Because when the things were happening with Clay Holmes and everything, it was like, maybe he'll close, maybe he won't. I said, yes, Luke Weaver's doing really well. Tommy Kahnle gets punch outs. Tommy Kahnle has year in, year out, he has under a 2 ERA. Like, you got no saves. Like, does Billy look at you and go, just can't trust him? Markey's like, yeah, don't trust him.
No, I don't think that's it's just I feel like I've always been a guy that just whenever the phone rings, I'm gonna get up, throw whatever I do, and get in the game, no matter the situation. I feel like that's a great role, and I've always pretty much served it really well. So I don't think that maybe sometimes just relies on what kind of matchups. Obviously, we would prefer me to face more lefties than righties, but in terms of the end, I mean, whenever the big time lefties are probably coming up, that's most of the time, I guess, when I'll be in there.
Yeah, but you have that mindset. You have a closer's mindset all the time. Does it feel different in the 9th inning?
I would say a little bit, yeah, for sure. It definitely feels different going from
Explain it.
7th to 8th to the 9th.
Explain
I feel
it.
like the hitter. I feel like okay, yeah. I just feel like the hitters, they're a little more patient because they know it's their last time, and obviously you got to get ahead. Once you start falling behind, you walk any guys, especially in the 9th, it's a little more crucial. So you got to have a little bit of a different mindset. But overall, I always enjoy it whenever I get a chance.
Do you think, Tommy, you're mostly fastball changeup. You don't really throw a breaking ball. Do you think that plays into it a little bit? And have you ever tried to throw like a slider, slurve, cutter, slutter, sweeper, whatever they're calling it these days? Have you ever tried? I mean, I know you've thrown one in the past, but I mean, if you look at your numbers, I mean, you're heavy changeup. So do you think that plays into the non-closer thing? I mean, I think guys. I mean, obviously Aaron Boone trusts you. He'll throw you out there in any situation. So do you think that maybe it's only since you're a two-pitch guy, even though a guy like Trevor Hoffman was a two-pitch guy?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe, the matchup that in that ninth inning, guys come up and, maybe slider is the better usage pitch. And I mean, obviously I don't have a great slider. I might have an average. But like you said, I mean, I don't throw it that much. I think I threw it once, 2 outings ago. But I mean, overall, I think this year has been the best slider I've thrown, but we don't really use it, obviously. I mean, heavy changeup usage. But I think, I've had a few outings here and there where I've kind of glimpsed it in there, and it's actually done pretty well.
Okay, you're a thumber. It's okay. It's okay to admit.
I am now.
98, but you throw all changeups. I get it. It's cool. Work. Whatever works. Okay.
Bummer!
How has I got to ask this question because Clay Holmes is obviously has some of the best stuff. He was the closer. He's been taken out. How has he handled that? Do you guys talk about it? Does he bring it up, or is it just like wherever you guys need me to pitch, I'll do it?
Yeah, I mean, all of us have had like conversations together, and he's handled it incredibly, man. This guy, just the way he's always handled his situation, being the closer, and now, kind of getting teetered in and out of the back end. He's handled it just so professionally. Like, I mean, you watch him anytime I've ever pitched him, watch him pitch great, watch him have a bad day. It's always kind of like he keeps that same cool, collective, demeanor. And to be honest, that's the way you should approach pitching. Because obviously my approach of the roller coaster every once in a while doesn't go well. So I wish I was obviously a little more like Clay in that term. So he's always done a great job with it, and I think he's handled this tremendously. And we're always there for him. And that guy's the man. He's my brother. I'll do anything for him.
Love that. What about Luke Weber too? Looking pretty good in that role and all fired up. We had him on a couple weeks ago before all of this, and he was just telling us about how much he's really enjoyed the relief pitching role, because he was a starter for a long time in his past life. So what's it been like for him, observing him, getting some ninth inning action?
I love it. His emotion is amazing. I love when he gets those final outs and he's yelling, he's mean mugging everywhere. I love it. It's awesome. He fires us up down there in the bullpen. Believe me, the guy's been incredible this year. Absolute lightning rod fastball, changeups falling off the table. He's got his little cutter at the back door, front door. It's been great to watch, man. He's been electric this year for us. Huge pickup.
Did you see it happen? Did you see that change happening in spring training? You were hurt partway through spring training. Like, you saw when he came in, he talked about it on the show a little bit. Like, did you see a change where you're like, hey, this dude could really, like, because you guys watch each other's bullpens. This guy could, be a big piece for us in the bullpen. Or was it just like, we'll see how he does?
I mean, he came back, so we signed him. I mean, they told him he was going to be kind of a starter, fighting for a starting spot, if not then the long guy. So it's kind of like, it was crazy how it all developed. I mean, the guy came in and he was throwing mid to upper 90s, and he had all this the new pitches with him, and it was kind of blown away. I was like, holy crap! He kind of went home, redefined himself, came back, and you see him now. He's lights out, man. That guy he's electric. That's the word I like to use for Weave. Very wiry and electric.
You're electric. But if I go like this to you, what was your reaction where were you when Cole did this on the mound? And what is your reaction to it when Cole intentionally walked Devers?
So I actually wasn't even paying attention, not gonna lie.
That makes more sense.
Shocker. Wait. Was there college football on? Is that why? Were you watching college football?
What day was that? Saturday? It was Saturday.
It was.
It was Saturday.
Notre
Were
Dame
Yeah, it
you
was
down
Saturday.
there?
Notre Dame
Was
wasn't
Northern
on yet.
Illinois on? Northern Illinois must
No,
have been
no,
on.
no. I forgot. I think I was like putting on the cheese or something in the bathroom. I don't know. And the guys were like, "Oh, he just intentionally walked him." I was like, "What? What are you gonna do now?" I mean, at the moment, maybe it was the right decision, and then you just kind of you always question. I mean, say he goes out, gets a double play, innings over. Everybody was right decision, and then obviously it turned into a snowball effect, and it was turned out to be a bad inning. So I mean, you can go either way with it. I mean, for me, I don't know if I would have done it, but you got to support your guy and always be behind him. So if Garrett wanted to walk him, and then next guy got double play, we're not even talking about all this, but here we are.
Okay, before we get into something else or deeper into this topic, you have to explain what I was putting on the cheese in the bathroom means. Because there's people out there right now listening that are going, Tommy Kahnle's in the bathroom putting cheese all over his body? Like, explain that, because people that aren't in baseball, I guarantee you Scott had no
Yeah.
idea what you were talking about.
No, I can't even eat cheese.
So it's just like a topical cream that is prescribed. You can't buy it over the counter. It essentially what it's like icy hot, but a super form of hot essentially, and it burns. Not too many people use it. I would say me and Clay wear it though. It's the only I haven't seen too many people wear it. I've known Chappie to wear it back in the day. Besides that, I don't know. Not many guys.
You
Wow.
ever put it anywhere special?
No. Sometimes you get it in bad spots on accident. Does not feel great. I've gotten in the eye before. The forehead's a bad one.
Oh,
Jeez.
That's
friend of mine
yeah, you don't
accidentally
want
was
that.
cooking one time, Tommy. Just a heads up, and he got it on his nether region down there, and he had to
Oh,
use cottage cheese. And his wife walked in when he had the cottage cheese on his area, and
no,
she is
yeah.
like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, they got
Oh
divorced.
my
No,
I'm
they're
God.
still
kidding, I'm
together.
kidding.
No, they're still together.
I'm kidding.
True story. So be
Oh
careful with that
man.
cheese.
Oof. It's the best.
Hey, I've got one more game situation for you. Let me know if you were paying attention to this when this was on the other side yesterday. So I watched most of your game while I was watching the Padres-Astros game finish up. So bases loaded, 3-0 count, Justin Turner at the plate, team that basically needs to win out to try and sniff the playoffs. And Victor Robles, who's been awesome, attempts to steal home. It was not close, and Heel got him. Did you see that live? And were you like, what the?
He wasn't paying attention, bro. He's put cheese on.
I was let's see, that was the first inning, right? Yep. So
Yeah.
I was in the training room getting stretched, but so I'm looking up at the TV kind of like backwards, and 3-0, and everybody's like kind of freaking out, and I was like, what just happened? I looked up and I was like, what the hell is going on? I don't think I've ever seen that. Not gonna lie. I think everybody come to agreement, probably not the smartest play, but
No.
it's huge for us. Got us out of the inning.
That's what I'm
And
saying. That was the momentum
yeah,
changer right there at the
Yeah.
front.
that
I mean,
that changed everything.
yeah, Kratz, there's sneak attack. There's trying to sneak up on people, and then there's just stupid. That was just stupid.
Let your
Never
guy
seen it.
let your guy get your runs in. Runs count. Points count. All right. So we've established today that you don't watch games or you don't pay attention all the time.
Not all the time. Not all
But
the
they have
time.
to keep the game. The game's faster. So Tommy's always like a shiny thing here, there, all that. You guys, your magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 1. It's the division is 8.
All
Where
right.
will Tommy be when the champagne is flowing? And will you guys pop bottles just for a postseason clinch?
So I'm not sure if we're doing the postseason clinch. That's gonna be up to Cap. So I know I've been on teams in the past. You usually have the big celebration when you win division. So I have a kind of a feeling we may wait till that, but we're gonna find out. Where I'll be, obviously if that's what we're doing tonight, I'll obviously be popping some champagne.
You guys
don't
could
waste
know.
it.
No, and they could know, before, because Baltimore plays early. So, or
Celebrate
whoever.
twice.
Sorry. Yeah, celebrate twice. Celebrate every chance you get. Well, actually, it's not
Celebrate
Baltimore.
twice.
It's not. That's for the division, but
It's the Tigers or the Twins or whoever.
whatever. Yeah, one of those teams. But
So
do it twice. Do it twice.
Yeah, why not?
He's not the captain, though. He's not in charge.
No, I know, Joe.
Yeah,
But you know what you
not
should
me.
do today? You should walk up to Judgy, say, "Listen, Judge, I've made an executive decision here. If we clinch this playoff spot, we're getting lit tonight. We're going litty."
Tell him YOLO, baby.
Yeah, in Seattle, we're going to do it twice.
As he coughs.
Yeah.
He'll
I
look
mean-
at you. He'll look at you,
Come on.
Tommy, and go, "That's not what we do here, Tommy."
Yeah.
No, he's always down for. We'll see what happens, but obviously, if we don't do it, it's fine, and we'll take a day at a time until we can hopefully get that division title.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
if not, Kratzy knows. If we do, I'll be popping.
Yeah.
I need one video, okay? Just one video from you, Tommy, because that is your element.
Element. That is a little older now, so it's not as easy.
Stop.
You got to enjoy him even more now. Even more, dude.
Oh,
So enjoy
man.
it. Have fun out there in one of your favorite parks. Feel a little bit better too, but you were great. Always awesome catching up with you, dude. Really appreciate it. This was fun. We'll talk to you soon, okay, dude?
Yes, sir. Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. The great Tommy Kahnle with us on FT. We also have PT, Pinstripe Territory, part of the FT network. Our guy Derek running point after every single Yanks game. There he is. So make sure you check it out wherever you get your pods. And, of course, on YouTube, search Pinstripe Territory. We're swinging right back to go over the games this evening. All right, let's rush through a few other topics from last night that we didn't get to that we won't necessarily have time for. The Mets crushed. And the thing that I keep looking at is the starting staff. Like, they scored a lot of runs. Cool. It's the Nats. They had the little team meeting. Pete had 5 RBIs. Like, that's all great. Acuna looked good.
Why don't we have a team meeting, though? You don't need – if you got to have a team
Lindor's
meeting
down.
at this point –
It was for Lindor because Lindor was hurt. And they're like, we got to
you got to win. Dude, you got to win because you got to win. It ain't. I mean, listen, Lindor's great, and he's going to finish in the top 3 in the MVP. But you got to win because we want to get to the playoffs and pop the bottles with Tommy Kahnle and watch, Judge.
Maybe they felt like they had a really good matchup, and they're like, yo, let's do the team meeting.
Yo, bro.
It's team meeting time. But Tyler McGill, 6 innings, 1
He's been
run.
pitching really good for
Dude,
him.
really good. I'm telling you, their starting staff has been one of the most shocking components of a team all season long because I did not believe in the Mets. I thought they were going to be a 500-ish team at best, and I thought their offense was good when they started slow. I was like, their offense will be fine. I'm like, their pitching is not built for a postseason. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that every pitcher was going to have a career year and get completely revitalized. Like, they've changed. It's not just them being healthy. Like, these are not the same pitchers. I've seen these guys for years. Tyler McGill has been around. He's good. He showed flashes a few years ago, but this is not the same McGill. This is not the same Anaya. This is not the same David Peterson.
Manaea is the one.
He is the one.
If they had Senga, healthy Senga, they could really be doing some
He's
damage.
coming back.
Yeah,
But even for a few innings of a burst here and there from Kodai Senga, dude, his ghost work's nasty.
just make sure he pitches at home.
Right. Home, and be careful on whatever it was, pop-ups, bunts, however he got hurt with the calf. But, dude, I mean, they crushed. And then Kratz, the Braves, freaking blew a 5-1 lead against the Reds, and they can't beat bad teams. They are, as David O'Brien, our friend, said, 6-14 against the Reds, White Sox, and the Nats. That's going to be their season if they don't get back. They're 2 games back of the Mets and the Diamondbacks who lost.
They beat everybody. Last year, they were beating everybody. And in a game like this, they would have just put this team away. I think they went up 4-0. Williamson goes out with some kind of elbow strain. Now they knocked the starter out, and so they're going to the bullpen. They had the bases loaded. They had the bases loaded off of the first guy that came out of the pen. I forget who it was. You're like, this is the team that is going to just annihilate them. And especially like Olsen in the last 20 games, I think he's hitting like 320 or something like that. He's been banging, so you're like, this is perfect. And they didn't put it away.
Nope. Offense has been a disappointment. BetMGM Locks, the Diamondbacks just ruined our evening. I thought bounce back, much better team. Even if it's close early, I felt like that's why, I was getting pretty much even money on a run line because, what's his name? Feltner is pretty good. So I'm like, cool, fine. It'll be 1-1, and then they'll score 4 in the 8th. Nope. They got smacked.
They scored 3 in the 7th, so you were close.
Yeah.
Great. So anyway.
Jordan Montgomery did not pitch well again.
No. Tough spot. Like
right?
Yesterday.
Yeah,
welcome back to
they
the rotation.
up.
Denver.
Yeah, you're going to pitch in Colorado.
That was tough. Good win for Kratz, though. Phillies run line. Harper kind of looks like he's.
Dang it. They had so many chances
back.
to add on. Like, mine didn't hit. Michael King obviously hit his strikeouts, but
yeah.
The Phillies had so many chances to add on, and I was like, just somebody get a hit. And they just kept not getting the hit to put it away, to give me the over.
That one call at second base, too, kind of screwed you. I thought that was going to be a rally, and it kind of killed it.
Yeah,
anyway.
True.
Yeah. So let's go over our locks for today. AJ, yours looks the most complicated. So.
I'm just rooting for runs. A lot of runs today. Minnesota versus Cleveland, over 7.5. San Francisco versus Baltimore, over 8. It's Birdsong versus Kramer. Birdsong's pitching in the bird bath, so you figure he's going to give up something, right?
Or he's motivated.
Yeah, and then you have Ober, hasn't been pitching great. Bybee, who's given up some runs. These teams haven't been swinging it haven't been swinging it that great, so they're due for a breakout. One of them, especially the Twins. So I think 8 is a reasonable number, especially in Cleveland. And Bybee's been giving up some runs. Ober hasn't been pitching as great, so I think this is a chance to hit the double over. Plus, it's plus 300, so I couldn't say no.
Nice. So a hundo to win 3.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Kratz, I see you're picking on that Minnesota-Cleveland game too.
Yeah, I'm taking a run line. I've had some run line successes, so I'm going to stick with it and see where I'm at. I feel like Cleveland, after losing, I feel like they are like, I don't think we need to do this. Ober pitched well last time against Cleveland, but my trend that I'm seeing is that he's going to leave a couple of those fastballs up to a team that is gaining more and more confidence, and they are going to waffle a couple of those fastballs. The changeup got hurt last time he faced Jose Ramirez, so I'm going run line. Cleveland's paying plus 175.
Nice. I'll just go nice and simple. Yanks money line minus 120 against the Mariners tonight. They kind of ended their season. I feel like that was like the final knockout punch yesterday. Judgy and Soto feeling it. That top of the lineup looked really good yesterday. The Mariners can't hit lefty pitching. And guess who's on the mound? Nasty, motivated Nestor Cortez. He's motivated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a little extra juice to him pitching right now because he was temporarily moved to the pen. And I'm all about those storylines.
Now Stroman.
Right. Now Stroman got moved to the pen. Hey, it's a good problem to have when you can't fit everyone into a rotation right now. But yeah, I think they get to Miller, even though Miller's been awesome, Bryce Miller, for the Mariners in the second half of the season. I got the Yanks pulling off a dub. I thought that was too close for me at minus 120. I thought it would be a steeper look. Yanks.
Yeah, but Nestor's why they're thinking that.
I know.
And Miller's been good too.
Miller's been really good. Yeah, yes.
That's why.
So,
but
13. Go ahead.
But I'll say this for you.
Yeah.
Wu had been really good too, and the Yankees demolished him last night. But you know what's weird about if you watch that game? Wu was known for like the heater. That's a 4-seamer up. He kept getting beat on sliders, especially to Judge. It was really a strange dynamic. And I was watching the Mariners broadcast, and Dave Sims, and I forget who it was with Dave Sims, but they kept saying, "Why is Brian Wu throwing so many sliders? That's not his pitch. He needs to run the fastball up." Judge came up whack a couple of times. He hit sliders for a couple RBIs.
Game plan. They must have gotten in and said, "Hey guys, we're gonna up the slider usage today, right?"
Miller.
That's what you do sometimes in a pregame meeting.
Miller's gone 13 out of his last 14. He's gone under 3 runs at home. His first start of the year, he got waffled by the Red Sox, and then ever since then he's gone under. So could be an under you could hit too.
Right, could be a low-scoring game. That's fair. First bet offer for you: if you use the code FOUL, FOUL, on the BetMGM Sportsbook app, is up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win that first bet. If that happens, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. You got to have a BetMGM Sportsbook account and sign up and deposit at least $10 into there. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So when we swing back with slap hands, I want to bring up a very specific situation that I was texting you guys about with the Twins yesterday that I was boiling on. I'll save it, but I will do this for 2 minutes with our YouTube crowd. Kratz, Bryce Harper, back. 3 homers in his last 4 games. Wrist getting a little looser.
Man, and he's driving the ball to left and to left center. Last night it was a little bit of that short, like that little indention, and got it right into the bullpen there. But still, he's driving the ball to left center. He had one in Philly the other day. That is helpful. That's helpful. If you're looking to get power back and you can go oppo before you start pulling the ball, he's a pro hitter. He's elite. You don't think guys are going to have those kinds of slumps unless there's something lingering, and maybe he got through that.
Here's a good thing for Philly. Who cares, right? You're like, I don't care what his numbers look like, but if he's back to Bryce status for October, huge problem. Because he hasn't been like that for a while now. Been almost the entire second half where he's had very little pop. He's still been an effective player. He's kind of changed his game, but if old Bryce is back with this timing, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, he's a piece. He's a big piece for the Phillies offense.
Yeah.
They need him. They need him. I mean, Schwarber's been great. They need JT's up, struggling a little bit. Trey hasn't been great, but they need Bryce in the middle of the lineup.
Bohm just came back. Yeah.
They need Bryce. They need Bryce, and they need Ranger Suarez. If they're going to get to the World Series and win it, they need those 2 people to step up.
Got to get those.
You don't
two
think
right.
Sanchez can step into Rangers' role?
Not with what Rangers has done the last few postseasons for them.
Because
as good as he's been so good for him. That's a lot to ask of a guy that hasn't been pitching his whole life.
Yeah. Rangers stuff, is it fair to say like Rangers stuff and the way that he mixes into that rotation really plays up in the playoffs?
Yes.
Coming off Wheeler and Nola, and then you get him, and it's very different, and he doesn't miss. Like, he's hitting his spots the last couple postseasons. Yeah. He is very unfazed by the moment.
He's been great.
Yeah. But he's got to get his stuff right. That's the problem right now. His velo's down. Like, he's not the same Ranger Suarez from the beginning of the year.
He's got 2 more starts.
He's not throwing as many strikes also.
Got to do all that. Got a couple tune-ups to get ready to go. All right, coming right back. We'll slap hands and go over a managerial question mark that I would like to ask these guys about. All right, let's slap. I watched a lot of baseball last night. It was really fun. It was just a good night of games. It had playoff vibes to it in many senses. So even that Guardians-Twins game, Matt Wallner with huge clutch hits for them early. Willie Castro, big homer. Miles Straw's first game of the year goes on to pinch run, gets picked off. It's a lot of drama. By the way, Stephen Kwan on the IL. I don't want to overlook that.
Yeah, that's big. That's
a big one. They originally said body soreness, then they said back. So I don't know. Still looking to read more into what's going on there and if he's going to be okay for the playoffs, because that's a playoff contributor where you're like, damn, we can't hit this guy. Well, Kwan's at least going to make contact. So anyway, there was a situation in the 7th inning where Manny Margot pinch hits for Matt Wallner, who's been the most clutch hitter on the Twins. And I think he's got the best OPS among guys who have played X amount of games for them, right? He's like been their guy. He drove in both runs at that point, and they are strict platoon in spots like this. So there's the play, falls behind 0-2, bounces into a double play. He is 0 for 29 as a pinch hitter this year. 0 for 29. I've seen so many Manny Margot ABs. And guess what? It's actually pretty good against lefties when he's starting. Okay. When he's pinch hitting, he can't do it. And when that happened, I'm like, best player and hitter in your game right now, getting replaced by the dude who hasn't had a hit in a pinch hit spot. It's not 0 for 8. 0 for 29.
Okay. So first of all, here's the one problem I have when you automatically pinch hit all the time for guys. It sometimes, a lot of times, sometimes doesn't work. The hardest thing to do in sports, forget baseball, is to pitch hit. Kratz, I think you'll agree with me. It is the hardest thing. You sit over there for 6, 7, 8 innings, and they're like, go get a hit with the game on the line. Coach, I haven't done anything for 6 innings. I've been over here putting cheese on my junk while the game's going on. Okay? It is so hard to do. But over 29, you'd think you'd mix in like a broken bat, roller, blooper, bleeder, duck snort. 0 for 29 is unbelievable. And you're right. Wallner's been great for the Twins. Listen, Rocco's going to do what Rocco has done his whole career, which is they platoon a lot.
Yeah.
They platoon. They look for advantages. They look for the minute little details that they can get ahead on. It just hasn't worked this year. But they still got a chance to go to the playoffs.
They do, but if they had lost that game, taken that bat out of it, I'm sorry, Kratz. That was the one guy doing damage.
He hasn't been as good against lefties. Other years, Wallner's been really good against lefties. My biggest thing, pinch hitting's not that hard. Check the stats.
Yeah, but you were hitting all position players.
Check the stats. That's the one thing I couldn't do. Pinch hit.
I'm just saying 0 for 29. Like, to me, it's time to try something else.
I did fine pinch hitting.
About to get hot. It's about to get hot.
Yeah, season's almost over. It's going to have to turn sometime.
Yeah, you're running out of time, okay? See everyone on Thursday, and Fair Territory on before us if you're watching on YouTube, Valley TV, and app. Crowd, we love you. We'll see you Thursday.